Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Loudmouth Football. Today I'm going to be touching base on a really sensitive topic for Spurs fans. It's been a really hard day for Tottenham to witness a 2-1 defeat to Leicester. But we are going to be talking about the bigger picture here. Daniel Levy has received a lot of scrutiny, a lot of heat from the fans. Fans, after today's performance, are divided on whether they should be sacking the manager or whether Daniel Levy, the owner, the chief, needs to leave the club. They want a new ownership and they have voiced their opinions out. But there are different narratives that I've been hearing on YouTube, on different social media platforms from only the Tottenham supporters. They've been talking about Daniel Levy blaming him for not signing the right players, for not supporting Ange Postecoglu enough with the signings. Now, I'm here to dissect all that. Again, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial person at all, but I do have an idea about what net spend in totality is all about and net expenditure. Liverpool is under FSG's ownership. They are an American brand, right? Who have no inclination, no emotional sentiment towards the club. On the other hand, Daniel Levy comes from Essex. The guy has been at the helm of things since the last 24 long years. That's a long time, right? For people to even think that Daniel Levy is not concerned about the club is a different topic of discussion. But he has a lot of investment in the club. Why would he want to hit the ground by not pleasing the fans or by not working or coordinating with the managers? He might be a tough leader, he might be an authoritarian, but he's given enough flexibility to the likes of Ange Postecoglu to get his signings. Ange has been given enough funds in the summer to bring the signings that he wanted. So let's just emphasize a bit on the transfers that have happened under Ange Postecoglu. Dominic Solanke was signed for 64.3 million. Archie Gray was signed for 41.25. Wilson Odobert, who's injured again, was signed for 29.3. Ange had demanded a 160 million bracket for acquiring three players, which was granted to him, clearly granted to him. Now, if you want to blame the signings, the recruitment onto the owners, it's really not done. The board has nothing to do with it when the full autonomy has been handed over to the recruitment and to the manager himself. Right, you can clearly see they've acquired a couple of good players. Even Lucas Bergwall, who played in today's game, by the way, he's 18 years old. He's a teenager, right? They've had a plethora of signings and even departures. I wouldn't deny that. But season on season, they've had a net spend of at least 110 or 120, shy of 100 million. Now look at 23-24. They got Brennan Johnson from Nottingham, James Madison, Mickey Van de Ven, Pedro Porro, Dejan Kulusevski, right? Now the fans have another narrative going on that they do not have a senior leader present in the team. They do not have that influence on the squad, unlike other clubs like Liverpool, Arsenal, and yada yada. Now, I have to agree with one thing. In order to win a title, you need to take a lot of risks. But in order to create an assessment for you to say that you don't have enough leaders is a completely false narrative. You have a human son in the club who's 32 years old, right? He might not be in the best of his form, but he is definitely a leader out there. You have Mickey Van de Ven, who's had a great presence, a great influence in the squad. In fact, he's scored some bangers. He's been at the heart of their defense. He's been an amazing acquisition. There's one thing that you're not really able to substantiate your plays. You're not able to really create situations, winning situations for yourself. There's another thing like conceding the second goal against Leicester was totally a tactical problem. It has to come down to the manager and the way they performed today on the pitch, and in fact, the way they perform even in other games, there's no level of commitment being shown on the pitch. You need to showcase some level of commitment, some desire to win a ball. You know, when you're contesting a duel, be it aerial, be it a grounded one, you need to see that hunger from the players. Today, you saw Kulusevski on the ball. He had that urge of dribbling past defenders, but he was losing. He was running into traffic. He lost the balls on so many levels, including the other players. They were so shaky at the back. Now, they look devoid of confidence. They are talented for sure because when they're building up, they push the ball really well, they knock it around really well. But as soon as they reach the final third, there's no quality altogether. They lose the ball, they're sloppy in possession, and they were sluggish as well when they conceded those two goals, which were uncalled for. They had a 1-0 lead. Now, coming back to the topic, see, Timo Werner came on from loan. Again, Timo Werner on so many occasions has been a terrible finisher for Tottenham, right? But he has created dangerous situations for them, which the players have not been able to finish. Now, Ange's tactics have worked to a certain extent, for sure. His tactics have worked for sure. That's why they have a goal difference of +9 amongst other teams in the bottom half of the table. They are on top in terms of the goal difference. But at the same time, you need to create a balance of play. You need to ensure the structure is rigid. You need to ensure that there's a lot of flexibility within the squad. Now, when you talk about leadership, right, you look up to certain players, right? Mickey van de Ven is a leader. Heung-min Son, Kulusevski, right? This team is made of leaders. You need 3 or 4 players who are going to be mature enough to guide you, to give you a vision, to help you in getting directed, right? So, in current circumstances, I am only going to be blaming their injuries. For me, only because of the injuries, Tottenham are the way they are, right? And Mickey van der Ven has only played 8 games so far this season. Other players, including Romero, they've been out and in, right? Pape Matar injured. He wasn't fit. He still played the game today. Wasn't fit. Bissouma, what an incredible talent. What a performer at Brighton. How is it possible that the fans are giving the flag to these players when they are talented? It is the manager's responsibility to ensure that he's managing the team even when they're injured. Right? You need to ooze out that level of performance from these players. You need to replicate that talent on the pitch. Now, Jurgen Klopp went through a similar phase where we had the entire defense line out. You had a Henderson and Fabinho living up to those makeshift roles, and they did a tremendous job at the back. Who did we acquire? We acquired Ozan Kabak, Reece Williams, Nat Phillips. They were all there in the club. They played most of the games. That heavy chunk, the business end of the season, was conducted by these players. Jurgen managed it really well, pushed us from the 9th to the 3rd position. It has to come down to the manager. You cannot be blaming the owner on each and every occasion, man. You guys are going through a lot right now. I do get that. But blatantly blaming the owner season on season, he's given you the infrastructure, he's given you a tremendous facility, a great fitness center. It has to come down to the medicos, to the physio, to the recruitment. If you want the right set of players, the manager and the recruitment, the talent acquisition team, they need to sit down and have a discussion about it, right? The owner can only provide you the resources, and he's done it. He's done it all. So currently, they are on the 15th position, right? But you can see they have been going through this rut since the longest, since game week 1. They might have had a loss or two, but then since the last 11 games, they've only won 1 game, they've drawn 1, and they are in a really, really precarious situation, to be honest. And I've been hearing a lot of opinions about what is happening to the club, what is going on with them. And the reason why I wanted to voice my opinion out on this is because Tottenham supporters, they exist in an echo chamber. They just want to listen to each other. People having opinions alike is what they want to give ears to. They are not entertaining any sort of foreign opinion. They have no concern related to what other people think, right? Football is a spectator sport. We might be supporting different clubs. We might be loving different clubs. But when a situation of this sort is being picked up, when you're blaming the owner, who is a business person, he has a business mentality. He's done his jobs. As per the PSR regulations, you cannot have a loss of more than 100 millions. You cannot be incurring a loss of more than 100 million. It is as easy as that, right? So for him to give 160 million to Postecoglu, looking at the net expenditure, I think he's done a fantastic job, man. It is on the manager. It was uncalled for. It was unprecedented that they had to incur so many injuries. But blaming the owner at this point in time is not the solution. Keep the manager, look at what he's going to do in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup, instill some faith in him. Looking at the likes of Daniel Levy, I don't think he is going to keep Ange Postecoglu. I think he already has plans of sacking him. But I think he deserves another season for sure.